All right, only 3 episodes left, but as excited as I am to get into it, that doesn't mean that I'm going to neglect talking about things that I want to talk about. So, a couple of things. Uh, as I was rewatching last episode, one of the things that I kind of picked up on that I just thought was sort of noteworthy, I suppose, was in the meeting between the Lord of the Island taunts and the Western Elves, which I noticed on rewatch are called the Canaries. That's a cool little nickname that I definitely did not notice the first time. Um, Something that I sort of picked up on with that group that I just thought was an interesting little bit of flavor and depth to again these characters and this collective that we are being like very surface level introduced to here at the end of the season, and I imagine they're going to play a somewhat significant role going into next season. Um, is that they have been frequently painted as like these kind of like guardian and gatekeeper is not necessarily the right word that I'm looking for, but these kinds of like overlords almost of like, order and following rules and like maintaining control over things. And control is a good word here. They've been painted as this like very controlling group, right? And while I do feel like they have been shown to be pretty controlling in what little we've seen from them so far directly, I do also think that with what we saw, like the way that certain characters phrased certain things, the way that they were shown to be emoting in response to certain things that like Copper was saying when he was like informing them about the emergence of the Chimera in the dungeon, I do get the impression that at least some of them, maybe not necessarily all of them, but I do get the impression that like at least some of them do actually care about like the safety and well-being and like protecting the lives of these other people, right? It's not just that these elves want to barge in and like take control over, dungeons and land and, grab power for themselves just for the sake of like holding power over these other races and these other peoples and groups and whatnot. I do think that there is definitely like a layer of basically we know better and we are more capable, and so we're just basically going to impose our will on you all for your own well-being. And yeah, I don't know, I as with almost everything with Dungeon Meshi so far, it's just really nice to see something that like could be just like very plain and one-dimensional and just very shallow and very surface level turn out to be something even just again even I obviously we haven't seen very much of these characters and their like group dynamics and the way that this faction is going to like intermingle with others long term. I do still think that like again just in what little we've seen so far that we are getting to see like again just I I'm using these words over and over and over and over again. It's they're going to become buzzwords for me by the end of this series. The amount of just depth and nuance that are at play with these characters and again this faction. So that was just really cool to see and something that I didn't necessarily pick up on in the first time watching. So yeah, it wasn't necessarily that I thought in the first time watching like oh they're heartless and then I had a change of mind after rewatching it. It was just that was not necessarily something that I was paying as much attention to initially. So yeah. And then kind of to build on that point in a way, speaking of like factions and more like broader, wider macro level stuff, there have been a few times so far throughout this series where I have expressed kind of interest in like the world at large as opposed to what we were being shown like in the dungeon. Like particularly the example that comes to mind is when we were seeing like flashbacks of Izutsumi living with like Shiro and his group back over in the east, like there were things that were being said and shown to us where I was like, what is going on over in the east, right? And so and as this series just continues to develop and we're getting, we got again Shiro's group obviously from the east, and now we've got these western elves, the Canaries, and just like and now we've also even got like, the remnants of Delgal's kingdom. I guess it's just called the Golden Country. I again, I don't look at episode titles. That the things that I don't look at typically for a series. I don't watch trailers if I already know I'm going to watch something. I don't watch episode previews at the end of the episode, and I also typically do not look at episode titles just because once I've decided that I want to watch something, I don't need spoilers telling me and showing me things that I'm going to see as I watch it. So I didn't know until after watching the episode that one of the parts of the episode title was the Golden Country. So I assume that that is like what that, I think the castle was referred to at one point during the last episode as the Golden Castle. So like, I guess that's what that area, that group is called. But in any event, point being, we've got all these different groups, all these different factions again, and as the series progresses, we are getting to a point where I think that there are going to be more opportunities for all these different groups to collide. Earlier on in the series, I was talking about things like Laos's adventuring party meeting up and clashing with Kabru's adventuring party, and we're just kind of taking that and getting bigger and bigger with these sorts of dynamics. So that's something that I am like, obviously, again, we're in the last few episodes of this season, so I don't expect to see a ton of that necessarily in these last few episodes, but it does just kind of prepare me for a lot of things to be potentially excited about going forward into next season. And weirdly enough, actually, after finishing last episode, one of the things that it kind of reminded me of to an extent was that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Just like I, I actually haven't finished that series. I'm only one season in. It's a show that I might actually continue on this channel at some point, maybe if there's interest for that. um, but like once you get past the initial world building of that show, of that the first season of that show, there gets to be this point where Rimuru is like traveling to these other countries and establishing like trade and like international relations, and it gets to be this like somewhat grand political like just and I don't know, I thought that stuff was really cool. And I'm I am interested and curious to see if we're going to get something somewhat similar from this series as again seemingly things are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger in terms of scale. So, yeah. But anyways, that is enough about addressing things from the last episode. That is enough about talking about other shows as I just went on a minor tangent towards that. I think we can go ahead and get into episode 21 of Dungeon Meshi. No, 22 of Dungeon Meshi. Yes, but I'm going to need to get my headphones on. I forgot to do that. So, one moment. And lest I forget to remind you, don't forget to like the video, give me that thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and if this happens to be your first time on the channel, subscribe if you are not already, and check out other things on the channel, such as Freerun and the soon-to-be starting, or potentially when this gets uploaded, having already started, Apothecary Diaries. Anyways, episode 22 of Dungeon Meshi, starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, and right in with the OP, and as we sit here waiting to get into the actual show, something else that I noticed in the, not necessarily noticed, but I guess in a sense realized while watching last episode is that the uh, the leader of again this Golden Country, remnants of Delgul's kingdom, whatever, uh, Vod, I think the name was, the during their kind of exposition dump in a sense towards Laos's party, they just kind of casually threw out that the like guardian protector of their people was a like winged lion or something like that, but it was being held captive by the mad mage. And because there was so much that happened in last episode, I just like didn't even acknowledge that when it was revealed to us in the episode, and then I didn't bother to address it at all once we got to the post episode thoughts section. So I just thought that was kind of funny that like in I feel like in a lot of shows where you're not being given like so much kind of meat to the like the story and world building and whatnot in an episode like last episode specifically, that would be like one of the big things that gets dropped in an episode. But because it's Dungeon Meshi, like it was such a small thing to me. What is this sleeping arrangement? Oh, poor Chill Chuck, I guess. The fluffiest pancake imaginable. Jesus. Oh my god. So simple compared to their normal fare, and it just looks so good. Are you not even gonna try it? Come on. Won't be able to taste that. That is something I also didn't really pick up on too much. I noticed that they mentioned not really eating last episode, but I did not notice that they your sense of taste is almost like a muscle. Okay, I don't think I agree with that one, Senshi. But I did not notice that they said that their sense of taste had been diminished as well. So that does suck. Thistle. Mad Mage's name is Thistle. Okay. Interesting. I feel like we skipped a few steps to get to that point. Why? Ah. Oh dear. It's so funny just seeing the pancakes on the table as they're having this very serious conversation. Okay. Uh, we're just leaving? Uh, nah, we'll be back. Do you really think they're the chosen? Hi. Oh, it's a shame, Thistle. You just missed them. Can we stop falling? Senchi's really struggling with these transports. Oh, she's gonna wake up normal probably. You good? Mortified by her own behavior. He seems really somber. He seems way different than usual right now. Oh, this can't be good. Oh, wait, maybe? They're certainly freaking big enough. Jesus. I would trust him. Why did he react that way and then seem unsure of what we were talking about? He is so out of it. What is not out of it, but he's like he's off. He's like he's way out of sorts from what he's usually like. Oh, and suddenly gets the drop on them. Oh my god, is it big? He is so hype. Oh, and she's pissed because it's not fallen. He is freaking out. Oh, it changed yeah. Hunting instincts triggered by that kind of thing. It's like when a dog sees like a rabbit or a squirrel or something that moves quickly. At least for hunting dogs, not all dogs, but like a hunting dog, hunting breed, dart after that thing. Oh, well, now we're just separated. Lovely. Ain't gonna be me though. Ooh. Ooh, he's panicking. This is not good. Okay. More lore. Maybe don't do that one. Her hair. Sure, why not? Homunculus ingredients, I guess. She is busy, bro. Dejected. Probably. Oh, they. Yeah. All right. Let's dig in. Yes and no. What a recollection. I mean, cool. They are recognizing a lot of the weirdness around some of his more aberrant behaviors, I suppose. So, but it seems like since he's not here, we're not going to be getting those answers this episode. But looks like next episode might be a bit of a Senshi lore episode. That'd be cool. It's going to be derpy, isn't it? Oh my god. Oh, she's nope. Oh, that's nauseating. Don't leave me behind though. Jeez. Marcial, please. Marcial, please. Oh my god. I can't get over these things. They look like a cross between a marshmallow peep and the dragons that the little blood dragons that the Mad Mage uses. Oh, I'm sure he's fine. Yeah, it doesn't look like he's like mixed into a nest or anything. Oh my god, they're malleable. Okay, so now we're changing the peeps into more being more like what the Mad Mage is. Cool. I feel like the music is way too epic at the moment, by the way. I don't know. There's like a this is the weirdest mix of seriousness and silly that I think I have possibly ever seen in this show, which is saying a lot because you know, this show is this show. Still some very good animation at times though. Jesus. All right, you only got one peep left. And what's going on with Senshi? Oh dear. Sir? I've been wondering that the entire time. Like, why are y'all actually trying to make these things be able to compete with the Griffin? All his hard work! Oh my god. Klaus was so invested in that thing. What is happening? What? What am I looking at? Oh, okay, sure, why not? Her best! Okay, he was free, and now he's like, okay, yeah. Oh, wow, okay. That dropped it, surprisingly. Oh my goodness. They actually felled it? That quick? That easy? Honestly, I thought they were going to grab Senshi and get the hell out. I did not think they were going to kill that thing. You served your purpose, little guy. Oh 07. Why? Christ! Meanwhile, Chilchuck trying to have a serious moment with Senshi off to the side, and this is happening. This episode is wild. Again, for Dungeon Meshi standards, it's wild, which is already like Skyfish and chips. Too much. Too much. If you say so. No. What a great way to do that. He's so young. Wow. Okay. So he was part of the original group that found this place. Like, we knew that this place used to be covered in gold, right? Because before Laos became like a proper adventurer, like, we got that flashback of him and Fallen going into and doing like what I don't remember what it was called, like gold picking, gold flecking, something like that. And he said that like and they said that like by the time that they were doing that, like basically all of the gold had already been picked off. And so like interesting. Yeah. I don't know. That episode was a lot in a lot of ways, I guess. I don't know. So like there was this the stuff in the beginning, like it was not it was weird. The stuff in the beginning was not necessarily like as deep as I thought it was going to be, but it also like it gave us a little, in a sense, personal context to, I guess his name is Thistle. Uh, and then we as in Laos's party, we just fucked off basically. And it wasn't even like half the episode. It was, I'm looking at it now. It was like, it was the first like 4 minutes basically of the episode. We stuck around, not even. Yeah, we stuck around for like 3 or 4 minutes, had breakfast, and then dipped back to the dungeon. And then the rest of the episode was just like, again, it was super weird. It was like, it was interesting. It was fun to watch, but it was also just like, it was super weird, right? Because it was like basically trying to bubble up to the surface any and all of the curiosities and questions that people may have had about Senshi, not just like our group, but like the audience. Like it was trying to like bring all of that stuff to the fore and be like, hey, would you like some answers? Because we're setting up to provide you with some answers. And the stuff with the summoning was just like an interesting little, how to call it? I guess just another interesting little glimpse into the world's magic system, I guess. Uh, which not only was interesting for world building purposes, but Marcel even commented at one point like that because it was so difficult for her to like maneuver and see through her familiar, like she commented like the Mad Mage has how many of these? How does he do like how does he operate all of them and still do everything else that he does, right? So it was also meant to like show us, to like as another demonstration of like he's powerful. Like if it wasn't enough that he created this dungeon and he cursed an entire civilization of some size or another. We don't necessarily know the scale. I don't think for with confidence like of how many people he cursed with immortality, but like he can do that. He can create this dungeon. He can do what he did to Fallen, and now and now just like throwing another thing on top of that. It's like Marcial, who outside of Thistle is, pretty confidently the most powerful mage that we are familiar with in this series. Like she's struggling to like maneuver one of these things at a time, and she's remarking on like, oh, Thistle's crazy at this too. So that's just like another part to that, I suppose. Um, but and also just I don't need to talk about like how everything in this episode was ridiculous, right? I don't think I need to harp on like Laos's obsession with like making his little Giga two-headed dragon or whatever he called it that could breathe fire and ice. Um, and then like the whole the food aspect with like then preparing the there was this episode was so it it just it came out of left field. It really did. I don't know. It again, it was fun. It had some interesting bits, but like I also feel like I got fucking smacked in the side of the face with a baseball or something watching this episode. And again, this is episode 22. Like it's not like I don't know what I'm getting into with this show at this point. This episode was just like so much further beyond, in my opinion, of what you can typically expect from this show. So I don't know, but the main thing for me, I think, is the fact that like again we are getting set up to learn a lot more about Senshi, and like I don't know, I'm not really sure where we're going with this. I'm not really sure what direction this is going to take, but he was the Senshi as a character was like I talked about it multiple times, right? He just was he was not himself this episode. He was initially he was very frightened about the Griffin, but then once they rescued him, he was just like so stoic, somber, serious, whatever you want to call it. He just like he was like there was no joy or jubilance or anything in his character for like the entirety of this episode once they got back in the dungeon, right? And so I feel like his backstory is probably going to hit on some heavy notes, I guess. Like, you know, Chilchuck mentioned before, not at the end of the episode, prior, when they were after Senshi got taken and they were talking about how they don't know anything about him. Like Chilchuck mentioned how like, you know, I, as someone who doesn't want to talk about myself, like I understand why he might not want to be forthcoming, and like, you know, so yeah, I think that there. So I just I wouldn't be surprised if we're gonna see some of Senshi being a bit darker next episode in talking about things that he again just hasn't really wanted to voluntarily bring up and talk about. So, but now that he's being questioned and asked, it seems like he is going to seems like he does trust these people enough and care about them enough to want to tell them the things they want to know. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I am looking forward to seeing next episode, and I think that's it. Yeah, this I think I might have nah, maybe I think I might have talked more before this episode than after this episode, which is definitely not a common thing in my videos, but in any event, that's going to be it. So again, remember to like the video, give me that thumbs up, check out nope, wait, comment. I almost forgot to say comment on the video. Comments are not only generally nice to see personally, I just like seeing them oftentimes, but they are also same as likes, same as views, same as view time, you know, watch durations, people who watch the video from like start to finish instead of just like a couple minutes and clicking away. Not only are all of those things good for metrics and algorithm, but the comments are also very good for that as well, telling the YouTube algorithm like, hey, maybe a few more people should be shown this video. Subscribe if you are not already. This feels like a really weird episode for somebody to start watching my channel on, but at the same time, because it is so ridiculous and zany, even by Dungeon Meshi standards, I suppose I could see it. And now that I've said those things, check out other stuff on the channel if you are so inclined to do so. Rerun, Apothecary Diaries. I usually mention anime with anime, but also, you know, Has Been Hotel, Arcane. Those videos are things that I am trying to get on this channel. Those have been a bit slower because they are also videos that I'm trying to make like regular reactions for on my original reaction channel, and copyright is a bitch. So that kind of discourages me from wanting to put more time and effort and energy into those videos. But yeah, that's going to be it for now. So thank you so much for watching, and until I see you in the next one, take care. Bye-bye.